These are directions on how to do your Crack the Code substitution center. This is actually a review center from a couple weeks ago, so you should be able to start doing this one on Monday. Some things we need to remember before we do the center, because these questions are similar to ones that many of you missed on our math quiz that we took a couple weeks ago. They're similar to questions 5 and 6. And that's because some of us struggle with decimals. So quick decimals review, if you forget. If you are adding or subtracting decimals, you have to line up the decimal. Okay, so like an example of that would be, here, let's draw some lines. An example of that would be like if I had 36.6 plus 7, right? I would have to line up the decimals. That means for this problem, I would put 36.6 on top. I know that in 7, the decimal is invisibly behind it. So I line up the decimals this way, and then I can add them together. Okay, the other thing we need to remember for decimals is that when you multiply or divide, you do not line up the decimal. So for example, if I was multiplying 6.2 times 3, I would just line it up this way. I don't have to worry about where the decimal is in the 3. I can just multiply it the way I normally would, and I would be fine. Okay, so if I were you and you are someone who struggles with remembering when to line up decimals and when to not line up decimals, I would take a screenshot of this right now so that you can use it while you're doing the center. Okay, now that we got that taken care of, I can start on the first one. So we've done Crack the Codes before, right? So you're going to do the work, solve the problems, and then fill in for the answers at the bottom. You do have to solve all of them. Even if you figure out what the code is, that's great. But the whole point is not to practice cracking the code. The whole point is to practice how to do this math. So make sure you have the work either written down on this paper, on another piece of paper, on the back. But if you do not turn in your assignment with work, you will have to do it again. Okay, so here we go. 3 plus 1.4 plus 1.2 times a equals when a equals 2. So I know I'm going to plug in the 2 in for the a. So I'm going to rewrite it with this substituted in. So it's going to be 3 plus 1.4 plus 1.2 times that substitution, which will be 2. Okay, now I'm just going to do GEMDAS. Okay. I have no grouping, so I can cross that off. No exponents, can cross that off. I do have some multiplication though, 1.2 times 2. I'm going to do that right here. I know that when I multiply decimals, I do not have to line up the decimals, so I can just multiply this way. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. I have one number behind the decimal, so I need to move my decimal over. So now I have 2.4. Now I can bring the rest of the problem down. I still have a plus sign, 1.43. Okay, I don't have any more multiplication or division, but I do have addition. Remember, when you are doing addition, subtraction, you do it from left to right. So I do have to do 3 plus 1.4 first. Okay, now I know that when I add decimals, I do have to line up the decimals. So I'm going to have 1.4 on top. I know that in 3, the decimal is invisibly behind it. So I'm going to add the decimal there and then add a 0 in that blank space I have. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Bring that decimal straight down. So now I have 4.4 plus 2.4 left over. I know that I'm adding again, so I need to make sure I line up those decimals. 4 plus 4 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. Bring down that decimal. 6.8 is my final answer. I can check down here to see if I did it right. And I did, so 6.8 would be my A's. Okay, remember, if you have any questions on how to do this center, remember to ask the people in your group before talking to your teacher.